All right, so here we are back at 2-4 for Math 7 on mixed operations with fractions or rational numbers. So looking at our example 1 and our example 2, at first glance, you might think that these are the same problems because they have all of the same numbers in them. You know, negative 1/4 plus 2/5 times negative 10/9. And example 2 is the same thing, negative 1/4 plus 2/5 times negative 10/9. However, there is one hugely fundamental difference between them that does actually result in us getting a different answer. And that is, of course, the presence of those parentheses or those groupings. Going back to that order of operations, remember, those groupings have to come first. So in this first problem here, this first example, the first thing I would start with, because there are no groupings, nothing is grouped together here. Yes, the negative 10/9 is in parentheses, but there's nothing to do with that inside those parentheses. There's nothing to add or subtract that to inside those parentheses, so I don't need to do anything with that. Those parentheses in this case are just representing the operation of multiplication, which is actually where I'm going to start because there are no exponents also. So I'm going to start with the multiplication between the 2/5 and the negative 10/9. So the first couple of things I'm realizing here, I'm not doing anything with that negative 1/4, so I'm just going to carry that down. Now here, I'm going to keep that plus sign. Now I have a positive number being multiplied by a negative. So I know that a positive times a negative is going to give me a negative. So I'm going to go ahead and carry that negative and write that negative down right away so I don't forget it, because that's the biggest thing I'm seeing you guys do these days are forget to carry your negatives. So when I'm multiplying fractions, I have that option to do cross canceling as we reviewed in the beginning. There's nothing I can do with 2 and 9. 2 does not go into 9 evenly. But 5 and 10, those I can do something with. Both of those are divisible by 5. So I'm going to reduce both of those by 5, which I'm going to take this off to the side for a second because I like to be a little bit more organized. 2 divided by 5 divided by 5 is 1. And then negative 10 divided by 5 is a negative 2 over that 9 still. So when I'm multiplying now, I did my cross canceling. Now I can just multiply straight across. The tops times the tops, the bottoms times the bottoms. Negative 2 times that 2 is going to give me a negative 4. And again, I've already got my negative right there. Boom, that negative. And 1 times 9 gives me 9. So again, I can't do more than one operation or more than one thing with more than 2 numbers at a time. So I did that multiplication, and now I'm going to move on to the next step and do that addition. And again, I started with the multiplication because multiplication and division comes before any addition or subtraction in those order of operations. So I'm going back up to my fraction rules. I'm adding and subtracting, so I know that I need to have common denominators. And I'm also adding integers with the same signs, or adding numbers with the same signs, which means I'm going to add and then keep that sign. So first, let's focus on common denominators. I have 4 and I have 9 as my common denominators. There's nothing I can do to 4 to make it into a 9, so I'm definitely going to need to edit both of these fractions. So I'm going to multiply the first fraction, the negative 1/4 times 9, because that's the denominator of my second fraction. And again, I'm multiplying both the top and the bottom of that fraction by 9 to keep it equal. And then on the other side, I'm going to multiply both of those, the numerator and the denominator, by 4, because that's the denominator on my other fraction. Now, again, this fraction is negative, so it's going to stay negative. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 4 is 36. Keep my plus sign. And again, same thing. This fraction over here was negative to start with, so it's not going to stop being negative just because I changed the denominators. 4 times 4 is 16, and 9 times 4 is 36. So this is where we were looking at fraction rules. That's way too big. I don't like that. No me gusta. Let's go black. This is where I was looking at fraction rules. And now this is where I'm going back and looking at those integer rules. So I'm adding two numbers that have the same sign. So as I know, and again, this is where you could jump into your calculator. What is -9 plus -16? And I'll model that for you. -9 plus -16. Do make sure you're using that negative button instead of the subtraction, which would give me a -25. So I have -5, and again, my denominator stays the same because I went through all that hard work to find it. So final answer for that example 1, -25/36. We'll see how that's different from what we're going to get when we take a look at example 2 in the next video.